ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else. Welcome to my show. The Popcorn King is what it's called, I believe. I should know. This is probably like episode 16 or something. I've seen a whole bunch of great films recently, series, episodes that I just want to chat to you guys about it, please, if that's okay. Of course, I am going to be starting off with a little movie that I personally call Final Destination Bloodlines. Okay, so this is the brand new Final Destination film. There hasn't been a Final Destination movie out for a number of years. If you don't know anything about Final Destination, it's basically somebody has a vision of everyone dying. That vision begins to come true, so they quickly save a bunch of people, and then the catastrophe happens, and these people survive instead of die, and then death says, no, you guys were supposed to die. Then it comes and kills them in these really crazy, sort of insane, natural coincidence kind of ways. And it's just a great premise for a horror film. There's been a whole bunch of Final Destinations. I probably lost count. There's probably been like 4 or 5. And then they had a big break, and now they've got Final Destination Bloodlines. So this one kind of starts off in the past, like in the 60s or something, and then it jumps up to present day, and a girl is having violent reoccurring nightmares of this tragedy that happened, or that was sort of stopped by her grandmother in like the 60s or whatever. And she's just having the vision of the catastrophe that would have happened if everyone died. She's having the vision almost as if she is her grandmother. And then she basically goes and finds the grandmother, and the grandmother sort of explains it all, and we realise that, oh no, because the grandmother saved a bunch of people, not only are the people going to die, but because it's been so many years, their offspring, their bloodlines, they're all going to die. Everyone's going to die, basically. So there's a lot of room for fun deaths in this film. So what do I think of this film? I thought it was just incredibly inventive, incredibly imaginative. I found it really engaging, really fun to watch, scary, gory. You watch it and you're just kind of almost gobsmacked. Like the first scene, the big tragedy that happens in like the 60s or whatever it was, the 70s. It's just like, it's just insane. It's this huge restaurant at the top of this sort of tower that has this band going on, this band screaming, and the floor of this restaurant is made of glass, so you can see how high up they are, and everyone's jumping and dancing, and there's kids throwing a penny, and then there's gas from the kitchen coming out, and it's just like, oh, everything's adding up, and it's just an absolutely insane tragedy. It's not just the restaurant falling down and everybody dying from the fall. It's people getting burnt alive. It's people cutting themselves on glass. It's just horrific, ridiculous, sort of, like I say, inventive and imaginative. And it follows, it starts at a 10. It really starts at a 10. And then, it comes down with a little bit of exposition parts, but then it really just stays at 10. Like when you get to these death scenes, they're insane. They're ridiculous. And they're coming. Like, the fact that that they're on their way, the fact that every single time like the wind starts to change or something, you realise, oh no, something's going to happen, and you as the audience, you're looking around going, what things could possibly kill these poor people? And they're just crazy. They're insane. There's a magnet scene with a guy with like loads of like nipple piercings and cock piercings, and the magnet gets stronger and stronger, and it's all getting ripped out of him, and it's just it's just great. It's just insane, like, and it's almost funny, if I'm honest with you. It's almost comedy at some points, because you do sort of laugh, like it's these sort of almost like Home Alone traps. It's just there's too many variables that are happening. Like, how can you keep track of it? It does actually become kind of funny. Like, these deaths are comical, but I don't mean like as in like it's funny and the filmmakers don't know it. They know it's funny and they're playing into that. It's loud. It's bombastic. It's honestly probably the best horror film that I've seen this year so far. this year hasn't been great for horror films, really, but this, one of the best. Really, really good. If you want to call Sinners a horror film, then yes, Sinners is there as well. But these two, Sinners, Final Destination, two very different but amazing films in the horror genre. Just totally different types of film. And this Final Destination, you might want to just call it a popcorn film, but it's just the best type of popcorn horror. You're not like, oh god, everybody's making like the wrong decision, it's so annoying. Like, in some horror films you just get a bit annoyed and bored, and like the jump scares have just become like tasteless almost. It's not like that. It's loud, fun, popcorn, fun, like horror. You watch it and you go, wow, like this is insane. I can see a big budget's been put into this big bombastic horror film. And quite frankly, I loved it. I really highly recommend it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Hit that like button maybe. But yeah, I just think it was great. So I thoroughly recommend it. Go to the cinema and watch the shit out of it. Next, I want to do a review of. I missed 2 weeks of this. So, Andor, season 2, episode 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much depth into every single one of them. If you've been watching my reviews, you might know that I was being a little bit underwhelmed by the first 6 episodes. I thought these are serviceable, these are okay, there are some interesting bits, there are some really filler episode-y bits that I wasn't enjoying at all, and I was quite frankly maybe a little bit disappointed actually with Andor. I was thinking like, come on, you got to buck your ideas up, like it can't take 6 episodes to get into it, and I still hold by that. I still say it shouldn't take 6 episodes of kind of very slow setup for the for the reaping of the rewards in the second half of the series. But I will say this, the second half of the series is fantastic. They really got me. They got me good. They got me glued to the TV screen. I was like, good gracious, ass is bodacious. I was just like, this is great. Like, episode 8 and 9 were impeccable. They were just the best that Star Wars has to offer. And then, even like the last, like there's so many episodes, so many parts in the second half of Andor that where I was just like, this is incredible. And the lead up to Rogue One, I had to watch Rogue One straight away. I just thought this is amazing. And Rogue One being this incredible Star Wars film made all the more better for following this journey of Andor, Cassian Andor over the past, what is it, like 4 or 5 years? Just so good. Really puts the war into Star Wars, especially episode 8. Like, everyone has to agree, episode 8 was masterfully done. Watching the stormtroopers, watching the civilians protesting, and then it all havoc breaking loose as stormtroopers start shooting innocent people, and it's horrific. It's really like a war film. You're watching it and you're going, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. Really putting the war into Star Wars. Totally gripping. Your favorite characters dying, favorite characters being introduced. You're watching and it's just like surprise, it's tension, and there's not, I don't believe there's a lightsaber in sight in this whole series, but it feels way more Star Warsy than like the newer sort of films. Like, it seems way more Star Warsy than them. It's really the natural, I would say, growth point from the original trilogy. This is the natural growth point. Like, as Star Wars fans have gotten older and more mature, and like this is the sort of maturity level we want Star Wars to have made it to, and they did it. It's so good. It's such a shame that the first 6 episodes were a bit meh, but yeah, these last 6 episodes were just fantastic. Seeing Cassian sort of really become the leader that he is in Rogue One, watch him finally get there. I'm so bad of names. The woman he loves leaving him, saying, you need to be part of this rebel, this fighting back of the Empire. Like, that big switch in him was so exciting to watch. I have to say, probably my favorite part of it all, like, and this is including episode 8, including episode 9 with the great speech. But I would say my favorite was probably saving Clea, whatever, however you say her name. Saving her was so intense, so exciting, and yeah, they really stuck the landing. Like, it's really rare. Usually TV shows start off strong and they don't stick the landing. This was the opposite. They didn't really stick the takeoff, if that makes sense. They didn't take off very well. It just was, a bit dull. But they stuck the landing so damn good. If anyone is ahhing about watching it, I implore you, get through the first 6 whole episodes. Get through, that's what, basically 6 hours? Get through like 6 hours of okay TV. And you will be rewarded with some of the best Star Wars that you've quite frankly ever seen. It's so good. Trust me. Let me know what you thought in the comments below again, please. Your thoughts, if anything, more important than mine. I'm probably more informed. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you thought about it. Let's move on to another review of a movie that I saw at the cinema. This movie is called The Surfer. So The Surfer is the new Nicolas Cage movie, starring Nicolas Cage. And it is a weird film. So I'm just going to read the synopsis on IMDb. I hope you do not mind. A man returns to the idyllic beach of his childhood to surf with his son. When he is humiliated by a group of locals, the man is drawn into a conflict that keeps rising and pushing him to his limits, I guess that's going to say. To his breaking point. Damn. But yeah, that's what the film's about. It's called The Surfer, and it's barely about surfing. It's... what themes are these? It's about toxic masculinity, I would say. It's about obsession. It's about grasping for the past. In some sense, it's kind of a perfect vehicle for Nicolas Cage because he's just a weirdo and a very eccentric actor. And this film allows him to be those things to their sort of maximum. It's just really strange. There's the film is really just him on top of this sort of beach, like looking down on this beach, and he really wants to go down and surf with his son because he wants to buy an old house that he used to have when he was a kid. He wants to buy this old house, this thing, and he just won't leave because these guys at the beach were like, no, this is only for local people. You don't live here yet. So he won't leave. He's just spying on them. No surfing is happening. And everything just goes wrong for him. He starts to lose his phone. He loses his battery in his car. And he just loses his shoes at one point. He just slowly loses his mind, really. And there's these really uncomfortable close-ups of his face, the whole film. I have to say, it was stressing me out. I was like, why won't the camera just zoom out a bit? It's like focusing in on his face as he watches. And what's the most frustrating is it doesn't feel like a reasonable response to what's happened. Just go home. Call the police from home. Why wait here? Like, what? I don't understand. He seems to have real issues that are sort of really important for him to get this house that he wants. He needs to get this sell some assets or whatever, and he's waiting for these really important phone calls. Go home, like, sort it out, charge your phone. Like, why did you stay there so long, dehydrating yourself, basically starving yourself to death? It made absolutely no sense. It was such a disproportionate response to some sort of annoying people on the beach. And yeah, it just made me feel uncomfortable. And quite frankly, I never want to see that film again. It just made me feel weird. It's a weird, strange, odd, bizarre, unique kind of film. Perhaps worth watching if you're a Nicolas Cage fan or just want to experience something that's a little bit uncomfortable and annoying. Go and watch this film. But for me, I just was not really. I didn't buy the premise. I didn't buy him staying there and doing so much to himself when he could have sorted it out from home quite easily. The estate agent showing couples to this house and he's like, remember me? And he looks like an insane crackhead by this point, like skinny, gaunt, dehydrated, no shoes, sweating, like sick on him and stuff. And it's like, you've stayed here way too long, go home and just call someone or use the internet. You're like, he's a relatively wealthy man, it looks, he's got a nice car, like why are you staying there and ruining all of your own chances? So yeah, annoying film. I don't recommend that film if I'm honest with you, but I would be interested to hear your views on it because I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm completely missing something from that film, but that was not for me. Sorry, Nicolas Cage, but that film was horrible, was quite frankly horrible. And I love Nicolas Cage. I love Matchstick Men. I love The Rock. You know, there's so many Nicolas Cage films I love. Leaving Las Vegas. But that was not it, Nicolas Cage. That was not it at all. Next, on to another film that I saw at the cinema literally a day ago. And this film is called Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. No, Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning. This is a new Tom Cruise film starring Tom Cruise. Y'all know what this is. It's another Mission Impossible film. It's basically what seems impossible, and let's make Tom Cruise do it. I love this film. I really, really had a good time. Again, I'm going to use popcorn film, but not in a bad way. It is a popcorn film. You sit down and you are thoroughly movie star entertained. You are just putting popcorn in your mouth and you're having a great time. You're having a full-on roller coaster ride, and it's a great ride. It's just exciting. It's fun. It's jaw-dropping. It's exhilarating. There wasn't a moment. I will say this: that maybe the beginning is a little bit exposition heavy, a little bit. Let's have a few montages heavy. But when they get to the action set pieces, I tell you, they were stupendous. And I don't use that word lightly or likely. I never know what the right word is at the end of that phrase. But I don't use that word likely or lightly. It was stupendous. It was stupidly good. In my mind, stupendous means it was stupid how good it was. That's what stupendous means to me. It was those action set pieces were literally a thrill ride. They were sitting down on the Nemesis in Thorpe Park or Alton Towers or wherever it is, strapping in and going on an actual thrill roller coaster theme park ride. It was outstanding. You do have some little action bits here and there, some topless, like Tom Cruise has a fight in his underwear. It's all good. But you get the first big set piece, the big Mission Impossible set piece is the submarine. So Tom Cruise with like a some kind of snorkeling breathing apparatus swimsuit on in the middle of the freezing cold sort of Russian waters, jumps from one submarine that's driving through the is that the right word, driving through the sea. He jumps out and just falls down what seems miles until he lands on a wrecked submarine which is laying on like some cliff on the ocean floor. he finds his way in, and inside the submarine, it's partially filled with water. And as Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, he's trying to get something from the submarine, and as he climbs through the submarine, he opens one door, the water that's in starts going into another room, and that changes the weight distribution of water in the submarine, which causes the submarine to start rolling off this cliff that's already miles underwater. And in this submarine, this Russian submarine, are like 50 giant warheads, like these giant bombs, these metal bombs that are clanging and clicketing and splashing and falling down into the water as the submarine just keeps rolling and rolling in the water. And Tom Cruise, I don't even think there's any music in this bit. It's just the creaking of this submarine as Tom Cruise tries to make it through the submarine, grab this thing that he needs, and then he's trying to get back out, and then these warheads that are like bouncing around that you think these are going to explode any second, they like lodge one of the doors closed, and the submarine just starts falling off this cliff, and Tom Cruise has to get out by climbing through one of the torpedo sort of shooting holes that are in the submarine. I don't know any of the correct words for these things. And he can't quite fit in because this breathing apparatus is so big and clunky. He's got to take that off. So now he's naked again. He's in his underwear in freezing cold water, holding the apparatus to his face, like trying to get through the torpedo hole, getting out, and he's falling deeper and deeper and deeper. And then the submarine like yanks his breathing apparatus, and he's like flying like down and down and down to the point where he'd probably just die from getting crushed by water. But he just lets the breathing apparatus go. So he's there just in the bottom of the ocean, no breathing apparatus, no clothes. And you're just like, this is crazy. This is pure insanity. And it's just thrilling. It's so exciting to watch. And then towards the end, you've got, which you've probably seen on the posters, the airplane sequence of Tom Cruise on the wings of the airplane trying to hold on for dear life. Again, you're like out of breath watching it. You're like, this is pure cinematic, just orgasmic fun. It's so good. I will say maybe there's no sorry, the phone is ringing. Maybe there's no moment of the film which is the quintessential kind of clever Mission Impossible moment. You know, those moments, those parts where they accomplish a mission by doing something that's so insanely clever that people don't even realize the team have done it. They've stolen somebody and killed him, and no one even realizes that the man has been kidnapped or killed. Like, no one even realizes. Somehow the team managed to pull it off despite everything usually going wrong. There's no like clever moment like that where they just, through their own sort of ingeniousness, trick the bad guy. So there's no moments of that, which I feel like are staples of the Mission Impossible. But in the end, these giant action set pieces are just they're just glorious. They're stupendous, I have to say. Tom Cruise is one of the last proper movie stars that exists, and he's earned that status. He's really putting his life on the line for this art. You watch it and you think, this old man, he's getting old, he is getting there, but he is almost killing himself for the sake of making great films for us to watch. So well done, Tom Cruise. I've loved the Mission Impossible series from number 1 all the way up to the Final Reckoning. I thought these are great, fun, solid action adventure movies. And I would love to know what you guys thought, because for me, that was fantastic. A fantastic film. Finally, the last review I'm doing today is of Last of Us. I'm actually going to be reviewing the last 2 episodes of The Last of Us, because I didn't review last week's and I haven't reviewed this week's. So I'm going to be reviewing, I don't know what even number episodes are. I'm just looking on IMDb. I hope you don't mind. So I'm just looking at, what am I doing? Yes, so I'm looking at Season 2, Episode 5, Feel Her Love. Season 2, Episode 6, The Price. So, Episode 5, we finally get to see Ellie become the monster that she is destined to become. You know, the birth of that monster was when she saw Joel get killed. That was the birth of the monster. In this episode, where she chases down the girl who was part of Abby's team into that basement where the spores are in the air, so the girl is already going to die. And Ellie grabs a chunk of metal. There's always a chunk of metal somewhere available for you to hit someone with in these films. So she grabs a chunk of metal and she's like, tell me where Abby is. And the girl's like, no. And so Ellie becomes the monster and starts torturing her, breaking her legs. And you're like, okay, here we go. We are ready to see Ellie wreak absolute havoc on people. Because if you played the games, she goes pretty dark. And so I thought, okay, so we're here. So I guess, there's only 2 more episodes in the season. So I guess the next 2 episodes, she's the monster now. We're going to see her as the monster kill. But it doesn't do that, because The Last of Us don't do what you expect. Instead, episode 6, the next episode, so we've seen her become the monster. The next episode is a massive flashback episode. And a flashback episode that we kind of needed, because I don't like flashbacks in general. Usually I like stories to just keep moving forward. Like, okay, I'm on the ride with the characters. Can we move forward with these characters that we like and move forward through the story, please? And a flashback, sometimes they can be interesting, but for the most point, I'm like, okay, but I would have rather we just move forward. But not in this case. This is the flashback that we needed. So it starts off, so season 2 episode 6 starts off with the flashback of young Joel and Tommy, and Joel taking the blame for something that Tommy's done as a kid, and is expecting his dad to kick his ass, really. And the dad says, I'm not gonna do that. My dad, your granddad, Joel, my dad, broke my jaw when I was a kid, and even though I do hit you and I do give you a hard time sometimes, I would never hit you that hard, and I'm just trying to do a little bit better than my dad. And then hopefully one day, Joel, when you're older and you have kids, you'll do a little better than me. And that's the kind of inciting sort of incidents for Joel's, I guess, ethos in life, which is he will take the violence or resort to violence for people that he loves. It's passed on trauma. The granddad, I guess, the way the granddad protected his son was by violence, hitting him in the face, making sure he grew up to be a good man. He did that out of love in some sense, but he hit his son. And then the dad would hit Joel and do violence on Joel, and that's how he kind of was trying to prepare Joel to be a man. But Joel has learnt that the way you love someone is sort of through violence. That's what Joel's learnt, and that's what we see in that first scene. And because, Joel protected his brother, is willing to accept violence on behalf of his brother. He even beat people up for his brother, even as a kid. Joel kind of really does commit violence for people that he loves. That's just one of his things. He'll commit violence more than use his brain necessarily. And it's the same for Ellie. He will do a lot of violence on the objective being protect Ellie. And we see this. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. Spoiler. But we see this, he shoots Eugene in the head. And yeah, it's to protect the town. But also, it's just protecting people that he loves. That's what Joel will do. And if it makes him the bad guy, he's willing to sort of almost accept that title. He doesn't care if he gets called the bad guy. He cares about looking after people he loves, and he'll do that through violence if he needs to. And we finally get to the porch scene where Ellie outright asks him about the fireflies. And as she suspected, he killed them all of them. And it's such wonderful, wonderful acting and such an interesting dynamic. On one sense, you're like, come on, Ellie, just understand, like, he did it for you. He committed this violence because he loves you. Like, there's absolutely not a bad bone in his body towards you, Ellie. There's not at all. Every action is done to look after you because you are loved by him so much. Like, can you please just understand that, Ellie, please? But Ellie's got a point as well, which is Joel looked her in the eyeball and lied to her face. And when you can't trust the people that you're supposed to love, who can you trust? And that's what she's dealing with as somebody who's growing up in a world where everybody she loves either dies. She's got this one person who she loves, and he's lied directly to her eyeball, directly into the pupil of her eye. He's looked there and lied, and she no longer knows what she can trust. And that's the only person in this world that she felt loved her, and now she doesn't even know if she can trust him. So she's got every right to be angry. Despite how annoying she is as a kid, yeah, she's incredibly annoying. It's so annoying when she gives up Joel's lie about Eugene. It's really, really annoying. You're like, this annoying fucking bratty little kid. But it's a complicated relationship. Joel's not really her biological dad, you know? She's got parents and they've died. Everybody she's loved has died. Joel is somebody who's kind of been thrust into her life, almost forced into her life, and he's turned out to be someone who loves her very much, but he's also turned out to be a liar who lies directly to her, and someone that she has now completely lost trust in. But he just acts it so well because he knows in his despair, he knows he's being dishonest. He knows that he's probably ruined the relationship with Ellie. But he's willing to accept it because, again, he will be the villain if he needs to be in order to keep Ellie safe. That's the role that he plays. And it's a role so many parents, I guess, play sometimes in their children's lives. They become the villain in their children's lives for some moment in your life. You see your parents as a bit like the enemy. Like, everybody has that moment, whether it's just for an hour or whether it's for years. You can tend to have that moment at least once in your life where you're like, oh, they're the opposite of me, they're the villain. But parents are almost willing to be the villain because they will do anything. Good parents anyway will do anything to sort of protect you and love you. And whether they're shouting at you because you've come home too late and you told them you would be home at 10 and you end up coming home at 1 a.m. and they're screaming at you and you're like, fuck these parents. Like, they are the villain to you at that moment, but they don't care. They will be the villain if it means protecting you and making sure you grow up to be a safe person and grow up to be a good person. A good parent will take on the role of a villain for that moment. And, hopefully you grow to understand that. And I think Ellie will grow to understand that. But it's so great seeing Pedro Pascal's acting here when he says, like, I would do it all again. And it's a shame because it means you're going to turn away from me. But I love you in a way you can't understand yet because you're so young, but you can't understand. And then he brings it back to what his dad says when he says, but one day when you have your own, hopefully you'll do a little better than me. And that's all we're ever trying to do right. We're just trying to do a bit better than the generation before us. We're trying to fuck up the next generation a little less than the previous generation fucked us up. And it's a great flashback episode. We really see that, okay, well, they had their conversation. They had it all. They really had it out in this conversation. It wasn't an arguing, shouting match. Joel was silent for most of it. He just was shaking his head, saying the things he did were lies, with tears running down his eyes. And, he's got his other daughter who died in his memories, and now he's got Ellie who no longer trusts him. And it's just this great acting, and you see this kind of, they don't make up, but Ellie says, I want to try to sort of forgive you and work through this. And that's the last conversation they have, because he dies the next day. And that's the reason why Ellie needs to turn into a monster now, because she's learnt from Joel. It's passed down. She feels she didn't love Joel enough while he was alive. So to express her love now, she has to do violence. It's a learnt trait, and it's such an interesting character arc. So I'm just interested. Like, some people maybe thinking this season isn't as good as the first season. I think it's really fucking interesting. I'm having a really great time with this season, and I just can't wait. It's the final episode next week, so let me know what you thought in the comments below, and like, comment, subscribe, all those sort of things. And just remember that you guys are all loved very much, and I'm going to show that I love you by killing everybody. Just pure violence.